I've come to accept that Meet Kevin, Jeremy, Graham,
And
Andre, they are playing. They're not playing the game of investing. They're playing the game of YouTube.
Yeah.
And we have to like separate those two things as much as possible because it's a completely different game. Investing is something completely different, and YouTube, and it's literally sometimes those two things go head to head against each other.
They contradict.
So I mean, I saw the whole thing. I was just like, you know what? It's his money. Do what you want. But it's also annoying if people were just following him blindly.
Yeah, it's tricky because I follow Meet Kevin probably more than any other finance people. More lately, I watch more Dave Lee and stuff like that. But so Meet Kevin, and I've actually learned probably the most from Meet Kevin than any of the other guys as well. He's much more in the like trenches, like every day, analyzing everything. Trying to find like, oh, it's down 10%, let's grab some kind of thing. Versus Graham and Andre are very. They're just like, I just buy the S&P $1,000 a day or whatever. And then Jeremy is like small cap for life, like all in every day kind of thing.
This is the stock I'm going all in on. It's like, look, how are you going all in on every single stock? How does that work? Seriously. All in, like, come on, we like messing up words here or something. I don't understand something. Oh, what the?
Yeah, dude. But I guess the whole controversy with Meet Kevin was that he was always like, hey, I'm a long-term investor. Hey, I'm like, relatively conservative and
buy the dip.
Generally buying the dip kind of thing. And then he did a video about some big hedge fund manager. I forget who it was, but this guy came on the air and said, hey, the market's gonna crash. And it was on CNBC and all this stuff. But
I think it was what's this?
I think it was the JP Morgan guy.
Because JP Morgan, he's very bullish on the future. CEO of JP Morgan is super bullish, but I know who it is because
no, it wasn't. It wasn't Diamond. It was the other guy. Yeah,
Grantham, Jeremy Grantham said that we're in a super bubble.
Oh, there was Grantham, but the guy he was talking about in particular was another guy. I forget who it was, but some hedge fund guy, big money guy, and he was like, "Hey, the market's gonna crash. Oh my gosh, blah blah blah," and then it did the next day, and it was discovered that he had shorted it before he went on the air and said all of those things.
Always.
And then he made like $20 billion for his fund after it dropped, and then he covered his position kind of thing. And so Meet Kevin made a video about that and was like, dude, that's so dishonest. That's so shady. And this is why capitalism is broken, blah, blah, blah. And he said, I'm not going away. I'm not selling out. I'm always buying the dip. And then like the next day made a video that was like, hey guys, I sold all of my positions kind of thing. And I'm going to actually, and he was clear. It was interesting because he was really clear saying, do not do this. And I don't recommend anybody do this, but for me in my situation, I think, I probably can time the market a little bit. And I'm selling out a bunch of positions. My tax situation is different than most people. How much money I make is different from most people, and we know that he makes more than $1 million a month and stuff like that. So having a $20 million, $30 million portfolio is actually like not that crazy if you already make $1 million a month kind of thing. But it's really interesting because a really, really huge portion of his community like flipped, and they're like, you're such a troll, like we've been following you. We've been following your leadership. You're so dishonest because you were calling this other guy out on shorting it, and now you're shorting it. What the hell, man? And like,
but he's not shorting it. He just sold out.
Well, he sold out. Plus, he shorted.
Yeah.
And then he clarified later, and it was like, I have like I think it was like a 15 or 20% short, just as a hedge against the longs that I want to be looking at, kind of thing, and stuff like that. And then I think like a week later, he bought back in about 40 or 50% of his holdings or something like that. So, and I think most of them were down. So it turned out to be an okay decision anyways, but, he's still not buying anything, and he's still waiting because he has really strong conviction that the market is really overdue for a really big drop. And I don't disagree with him, and
I don't either. I don't.
Yeah. And so it's fascinating because there was this huge kind of revolt, and you would look in the comment section and like hundreds of thumbs up on comments that are just like, you lied to us. I'll never trust you again.
Dang.
I bought your course for $800 and I thought you were really trying to help us out, but it turns out you're just one of these big money bastards. Like, and
Dang.
so many people just like destroying him. And then,
Wow.
then he released a video that was like, he was like really somber and he was just like, guys, I can't sleep. I got to turn off the comment section, man, kind of thing. And he was just like super, you know, but it's interesting because he released that video and it was like, it's just too much right now. I'm just following my convictions. I've been telling you guys the whole time, don't do what I'm doing. This is not smart for most people, and all that stuff, you know? And so in my opinion, I feel like it's fair game because like you shouldn't be just doing exactly what Kevin does because you don't make $1 million a month, you know, kind of thing. But so he would make a video like that. And then like 30 minutes later, release another video that was just like, hey guys, today we're going to look at blah, 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 blah stock and blah, 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 blah stock kind of thing. And it's like, oh, so is he actually depressed? Is he actually losing sleep? Or is he just getting views off of this drama? Is he just a really good actor? Is he just playing that whole, like, this is how I get clicks game? And like we mentioned in our last live stream a couple weeks ago, Trump was like that. Like Trump knows when you create drama, a lot of people start to hate you and a lot of people start to like you more, but both of them are going to be watching your content. And I think Kevin understands that. He knows that if he's polarizing, he's going to get a lot of clicks, you know? And he makes a lot of money on his courses. He's actually done a show on millennial millionaires or something like it's like on
Millennial Money.
Millennial Money.
I remember that. I saw that.
CNBC or whatever, showing his monthly breakdown of income and expenses and stuff like that. And he makes so much money off of his courses and his ad revenue and his affiliates and all that stuff. And so he really knows what he's doing when it comes to these things. Personally, if you said, hey, are you mad at Meet Kevin for doing these things? Or how do you feel about Meet Kevin now? As a finance YouTuber, I can probably relate a little bit more to him than most people can. Because I'm always saying, hey guys, pay attention to this, pay attention to this, pay attention to this, pay attention to this. And I am investing in Nokia or whatever stock it is, you know? And then people will look at that and be like, oh my God, he's investing in Nokia, all in on Nokia kind of thing. I'm like, that's super not what I'm saying. You know, it was like 3 or 5% of my position or my portfolio was Nokia kind of thing. It's like, I'm not a finance YouTuber to tell you to follow exactly what I'm doing. And Meet Kevin always says that too, you know? And so when people are flipping out and getting mad at him, it's like, you would only get mad at him if you were trying to mimic exactly what he was doing, which he's been telling you not to do the whole time, you know? I don't know. What do you think about it?
I definitely agree with you. And I think, it's funny because I was listening to a podcast. I really love this podcast. It's called Compound and Friends. It's with a guy named Josh Brown. And he did this, and he was talking to somebody who writes this blog, and it's a really good blog. It's called the Not Boring Blog, and he talks about stock. It's really, really like a really good blog, and talks all kinds of content. And you know, he's grown that blog to where he started writing the blog, and now it's turned into like a whole community. But then also he's been able to like open venture capital fund as well. He's been able to like, he's just been able to do a bunch of things because of the blog. Wow. And then one of the things he said on the blog, or he was like, you know, sometimes I worry about like, you know, at first it was just like a small community. I knew who was in there. It was cool. Everybody was nice. Now it's so big. I get, you know, there are always people coming at me on both sides. And it's like, I'm always worried about that, how they perceive me. And Josh Brown said something really interesting. He said, you can't worry about that at all, because and then he gave the example of Jim Cramer. And he said Jim Cramer told a story how like one day he was walking in a supermarket. He was walking down the aisle. He met one lady, and the lady was like, thank you so much. Because of you, I was able to like put my kids through school by investing and all this stuff.
Wow, dude.
And then it was like, you know, he felt good. But then on the next aisle, somebody was like, I'm going to kill you. I lost so much money on the stock that you said to buy.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can't win. Like no matter what you do, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And so like, I mean, and people, and this is the other thing I've come to realize about people. People do not want to take. Most people do not want to take ownership of the decisions that they're making.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they're always going to look for somebody else to be the fall guy and say, it's not my fault that I clicked the button and I bought that share and I did that thing. It's his fault for telling me to click the button and do that thing. And we ignore all the other stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen to Warren Buffett or any of these dudes and you just buy exactly what they did now, first of all, you probably be fine. Like you probably do well on the front of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, even he tells everybody, he's like, first of all, you can't do exactly what I'm doing because I come from a different perspective. I have $140 billion in cash just sitting. Like you don't have the same things that I do. I have to run a whole empire of companies. Yeah. And so that's the thing. Like for me, is like I told you as well. It's like, and like you said as well. It's at the end of the day, you don't know what people are always going to try and do whatever it is they want to do anyway, and they're going to find an excuse to do it.
Yeah.
As long as you know you are creating good content and you're educating people and whatever it is, like it's like for meetkevin, for example. Yeah. Like even if for him, I'll say I've learned some stuff from him. I've learned some interesting things from him. So like as long as he's focused on like, yo, I know I created some good stuff and good content for certain people. If he focuses on that, he'll be all right. I mean, even if you look at somebody like MKBHD, for example, he still get hate all the time. Like, and he's like one of the most middle ground people. But if you go in the comment section, people are always like, oh, you must have gotten bought out by this company. You must have got like, it's like people always come at him, even if it's like the most genuine, like, yo, this is what's good. This is what's bad. Yeah. I'm just presenting the information. Yeah. People are like, oh, you sell out. You said this about this product. And you sell out. You said that about. Totally, it's like, dude. Bruh, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. It's like you can't win. No matter what it is, you can't win. And so it's like you can't please if you live for the, and this is one thing that I've learned, if you live for the adulation and the acceptance of the crowd, you will die from their rejection. Exactly. Because the crowd will eventually turn on you. That's just how it works. Yeah. Because eventually, especially like we talked about, investing in YouTube, sometimes they counteract each other. Yeah. At some point, you're gonna make a decision. Like Kevin made the decision of like, yo, I'm feeling pretty, like this market is feeling kind of scary right now. I'm out. Yeah. So he made that decision because of his personal conviction. He made a video about it, and people are gonna be pissed about it because it's no longer. He's not in the vogue anymore. Yeah. He's no longer he's not saying the acceptable thing anymore. And so it's just one of those things. Like being an investor is what is it? I love Monish Prabhat. He says being an investor is a lonely road to travel because most of the time, if you're a good investor, you're going to be looking at everybody else and saying something is wrong over there. I don't want to be a part of that yet. Oh. And so when you do that, you're going to be by yourself a lot of the time. You're going to be outside of the crowd. Like it's like, oh, like, if you look at Warren Buffett, for example, saying, I'm not investing in tech because I don't understand tech. Everybody called him an idiot for years upon years. Like, it's like, oh, you idiot. You don't know what's going on. How can you say tech is da-da-da-da-da? Yeah. And he's like, I don't understand it, so I choose not to invest in it. Yeah. But it's like the world is moving in tech, so everybody's like, how dare you? You must. And it's like, just because I say that doesn't mean that I'm hating on everybody. Like, everyone chill out. Like, it's okay. Yeah. But, it's just it's just interesting to me, like this is why I also like this. Everybody just needs to learn the art of thinking for yourself. But we don't. It's easier to just like, we look for shortcuts. Like as human beings, we're always looking for shortcuts. Yeah. And we can't, like, sometimes you can't be doing those shortcuts because you don't know all the details. To be able to do a shortcut, you have to understand something so well that it's like, oh, I jumped from this to this. Like, I'm pretty sure for you, when you actually analyze a company, it doesn't take you 30 minutes or an hour anymore. You just know, like, these are the key things I need to go look at, and then I move on. But if I'm teaching somebody how to do it, I have to go through each line item to be like, this is what this means. Yeah. This is what that means. But, but then now I have shortcuts because I just understand, like, I understand the accounting lingo. I understand how to parse through the nonsense and see the actual truth behind the numbers. So, you know, all of this stuff. And most people don't necessarily do that. And they're still looking for the shortcuts of like, how do I make this work for me as fast as possible? So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just I just kind of leave that one up. I'm just like, the crowd is fickle. Like the crowd is very fickle.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care about nobody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really interesting seeing something like that with Meet Kevin, where he has millions of subscribers and probably like most of his he'll release 4 videos a day sometimes, and they're like 50, 60, 70, 80,000 views each.
Yeah.
He has a lot of people who really, really appreciate and
rock with him
and find value in him, you know, but seeing him make a change like that, and who knows what percentage of people just immediately, you know, discarded him and will never watch him again or unsubscribed or whatever. Only he can know that. But yeah, it's like, wow, even a guy that was that valued by so many people can so quickly be, you know, rejected or thrown away by so many people is really eye-opening, you know. And it makes me wonder, to be honest, it makes me tempted to become less transparent on YouTube. Like,
that's true.
It almost rewards you to just put up a wall and be fake and be like, hey guys, I'm doing only this and I will only ever do this so nobody gets mad at me, kind of thing, you know. I want to be transparent, you know, but when he was transparent, he got murdered for it, you know. So it's like,
it's so interesting. I think one of the favorite channels I love to watch, his name is Joseph Carlson.
Yeah, I know Joseph.
And he's very transparent with like, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing this and this. But even he's regularly he will change his mind on like, for example, he was talking about, what was the stock? Well, some company that he at first was like super into. It was Peloton. So Peloton.
Okay, yeah, Peloton.
And he was like,
dramatic.
Yeah, and then he sold out, or he was like, yo, the valuation is crazy, I'm out.
Yeah.
Even in that video, people were like, oh, how can you give up on it?
Yeah.
Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yo, I just think it's reached a point where it's mature, like the valuation is just, I can't justify it anymore, I'm out.
Yeah.
And so like, even then, you know, he got hate and all this stuff in the comment section. But I think it's just one of those things. The moment you say something that is anti to what people want or what people have come to know you for, and again, I go back to this thing of listening to, I don't know what artist said it, but it was like, yo, if you want my old hits, go listen to the old albums.
Yeah.
I'm making new stuff. Like, we're human beings, we're gonna change.
Yeah.
Like, nobody stays the same.
Yeah.
And the thing is like, and this is the other thing that I get upset with. There is literally the unsubscribe button right there. Like, literally, if you're not rocking with somebody anymore, hit that button and keep it moving. Like, you don't have to. Nobody has a gun to your head that says, you better watch Meet Kevin's videos. It's like, dog, like, no, like, keep it moving. Like, I just, but then again, it's like, I just don't have the energy. Like, if somebody does something that I don't agree with and they keep doing the same things that I don't agree with, I'm like, you know what? My energy and my time is worth more than being in someone's comment section and like being like, oh, you freaking da 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 da. It's like, I ain't got that. I ain't got that kind of time. I ain't got that kind of energy.
Yeah, dude. That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's super interesting to see. Like, I've been thinking about this. Like, you know, Meet Kevin. I don't know if you know this, but they were doing that weekly live stream. All 4 of them: Jeremy, Andre, Graham, and Meet Kevin. Millennial Money, I think it was called.
They don't do it anymore.
Kevin left after the last couple of weeks because I don't know if it was because of all the drama. Like, the week after Kevin did all this stuff and, you know, his whole comment section obliterated him, they came back on and Graham and Andre were kind of like, yeah, let's talk about it. We want to hear more about your thinking, Kevin. And Jeremy was just like, I got no words for you, man. And it was like really cold. And almost like, I don't even want you to be here kind of thing. And so I don't know if there's actually beef between them or not. I didn't watch the whole episode, but maybe the way Kevin presented it on his own channel was like, yeah, the reason I'm not there anymore is because they're doing it all in person now. They're sitting at a table in Las Vegas, and they all have houses in Vegas now. And so they're doing it in person. And maybe sometimes once every couple of months, I'll dial in on Zoom and chat with them, kind of thing. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad or anything like that. And, you know, he's like a really, really high energy, really, really intense guy. Driving out to Vegas is a bit of a commitment and stuff. And he probably puts out 2 or 3 videos in the time that they film Millennial Money, and he makes no money from that anyways, you know? So, but that whole idea of like, maybe this is all just created drama so that people click on it so that they make more money kind of thing. It's like, and it's crazy because when I started to think about it, I'm like, that's why clickbait on the internet exists at all, right? Like every news website has to be clickbaity or nobody clicks on it. If it's just like, hey guys, here's a report about this cute dog in Central Park.
Like, leads.
Like nobody cares, you know? And so, you have to be clickbaity. And when you do that and when you become polarizing, then you can make more money. And these guys now probably make way more money on YouTube than they do through investing anyways. So I often think about that. I'm like, should I change as a YouTuber to become more like that and just do like, the world is over, oh my gosh, 24/1 Google split? Like, should I be making all of those kinds of videos, or should I just be like quiet? Should I be more like Dave Lee, like what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, hey guys, here's a thoughtful, quiet, relatively boring analysis of the Tesla robot that might be coming out in 7 years kind of thing. Like, like, you know, and I struggle because it's like, if I was going to be just the 100% genuine Trey, I would probably err on the Dave Lee side if I had to choose one. But, you know, it's also important to make money to not die, you know? So I'm like, I mean,
I
don't know, dude.
It's like playing the long game versus, you know, the short